Greetings, people, and welcome to this here video where I am going to be pitting the paper of my Castwell's fantasy cartoon coloring book against Sharpie's new-ish acrylic acrylic paint markers, to be precise. Simply because I want to be able to update my product information with marker info. Hopefully, if I've got the book out there, I should probably let people know ahead of time if their chosen medium of choice will cooperate with the paper, or if you have to go out of your way to protect, your pages in between. The Amazon paper, it is a little thin. I mean, it's fine for colored pencil, crayon, things like that. It's the wet and moisture media that will be the problem. And I have, taken, when I go to a store and I just look through what other coloring books are out there, feel the paper. It's honestly KDP's paper is, I don't know, it's fairly standard for a lot of coloring books, and if you're using alcohol markers or some of those, you're always going to have to use backing sheets and always use more than you think you need, just because in my experience, I used to use Prismacolor markers, and I noticed that sometimes, just depending on the color of the marker, some bled through worse than others. But then I have a need of markers. Sometimes I will go out and about, and I'll have a satchel with me and like my sketchbook, and I'll take little mini canvas and just make mini paintings to just leave for people, of course with my information, website and stuff like that, just in case they want to contact me. But I'll leave like little mini paintings around, which only works for pigment and oil-based markers to an extent, which is why I needed to look into acrylic markers for more vibrant colors and to make sure that the lighter colors actually have a chance to come through if you're putting them over a darker or heavier color. And well, I know people out there are starting to use acrylic markers for coloring. And since I have a product out there that somebody may be so inclined, I figured I would just see how they hold up so I can edit my book's details on my product pages and let people know ahead of time the media that they can use. So I'm going to start, stop talking here shortly. I have decided on an image, I believe, because this is just the first pack that I have, so it's a very limited palette. I did see another one out there that have more shades, which will be nice, but I found one of my images in my book. I think it will work with a limited palette, and I'm just going to get into it. Okay, I think I have a good picture here to work with. This fellow here, with the limited palette, I felt that this scary Dark Knight Warlord guy here was probably a good one to work with. And I got the markers here, and I'm going to open them up. I'm going to maybe open them up. This process honestly went a lot better in my head. Okay. Apparently I'm opening the whole thing all at once. Now I've got a test print page that I'm going to put behind it. And this is heavier stock that I got to make 8x10 art prints. So I don't think there'll be any worry about it getting through that. Okay, let's... Now, I had thought that these were going to be brush tips. Like a... Oh wait, maybe that's the other side. That's not the other side. Okay. Yeah, I totally thought these were going to be brush tips like the other acrylic ones that I have. So hopefully these actually are acrylic. Just got an idea, why not reach behind me and grab one of my brush tips. They both say creative marker, so let's see if they... Now there's something. The brush tip is distinctly a different ink. So I think the blunt tips, I don't know if they are actually, I don't know if these are actually acrylic. I thought I read it on the, I thought I read it on here. Is it? Maybe the, no, I don't know. The brush tip might just come out, might be a bit more wet, but it looks like a different shade, but that, I think that might just be me. So hopefully that's the case, because it would be really weird for them having so many different kinds of markers that are the same designation. So okay, there we got that. And I'm going to do the bits that I already know or have an idea of the colors. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try white on the white, which looks about like you'd expect. There's definitely some funky bleed when you let the colors hit, but it's still kind of wet, so. That's on me, but I had the idea, so I needed to try it out. Okay, now that I'm using the red, I do believe my worry was unfounded. I do think it is acrylic. Also the little clumps coming off of the tip that I'm starting to notice. That definitely looks like a paint thing. Yeah, and I know it looks silly, I'm blocking in my lines, but that's how my brain do. And I am noticing the strokes come through, but it's been so long since I've actually used markers of any kind to actually color. I am definitely out of practice with keeping my strokes uniform, so you don't have those little dry bits like that happening there, or the thinner areas standing out from the thicker. And that is just how my brain works. I like to define the lines. I could work on the extra control and what have you, make sure that I get to where I'm going before the lines start developing too much contrast, and I am starting to notice a little buckle in the paper. Oh, not really. Even with all of this, it's not really going through. So they were that claim about no bleed through might actually be correct. With the limited palette that I have, I might have to get a little creative with this guy's color scheme, more so than I thought I was going to have to. But that's okay. I reckon this guy's going to be purple. I don't have a darker gray. Oh, I guess that might actually work. Okay, I guess this is now becoming mixed media. Just because I want to see what happens if you mix the media. Color didn't. Is that just red? Brick red. Brick red did not do as well as I thought. Let's go way darker. This here is red violet. That's almost doing okay. Let's go darker. And I'm not certain because I've only, for one other, when I was testing crayons with this paper, I've only done one other in my book so far. And maybe it's just my memory, but the Crayola crayons, and if anybody wants to let me know in the comments, the Crayola doesn't seem the way that I remember the crayons being. And remember, it's been a couple days. Okay. Well, maroon's working a bit better. That was probably some of my issue. Probably not doing the whole piece simply because I just wanted to see what the markers were going to do. I don't have that many colors of the markers. The markers are doing okay. Let's see if they're bleeding. Still, again, and these are pretty wet markers, and they do feel like they're on top of the paper. So I think my initial worries about these being pigment instead of the acrylic are incorrect. I mean, which is good if you forget to put something back behind these and you're using acrylic markers. Now, one thing is the line work for the print is fairly light. So if you were, not that one. So if you're going to be using acrylic markers, because you're probably going to hit the line at some point, definitely want, you might not, like, if it doesn't bother you, you may definitely want to have either another acrylic marker to go back over the lines and darken them up and add that definition. You could use a pigment liner, maybe one of the fine points, not necessarily something as thin as a micron. Because my past experience with micron is sometimes they would start, if you're going over paint or something that's just a bit different but thicker, those fine nibs on some of the micron kind of scrape it off, and then they work so good anymore, if they will even continue working. So they're a very cool pin to have for that fine detail and stuff, especially if you're first starting to get serious about art and you want like the fancy fine little pins and this or that you pay a ridiculous amount for and not have them work. I don't know if they've gotten better since the last time I used to use them. And when I say micron, the brand Staedtler, I think, is it Sakura, have some out there. You'll see them in the art stores. They're the ones that get down to like 0.3 millimeters, like very tiny, very small, for really fine detail. I never had much luck with them, but that might just be me. But that is something to take into account when you're getting into art, is how your brain and your body gets the lines on the paper. Maybe I pressed too hard for them, not hard enough, I don't know. I just never had as much luck with them as I hoped I would when I was spending that much on an individual pen. And I might eventually try the Posca markers that I see out there that are acrylic, but those things are rather expensive and I don't know if I'm going to need them much in my daily life. But as I go here, these acrylic markers though, they do go over other colors fairly well. I am pleased with that, especially for when I want to do little paintings and stuff to just leave out around town. Because the lighter colors, yellow, white, sometimes the red, trying to put them, like, it was a nightmare. Especially, in like the oil paint ones, I haven't figured the benefit of those out, at least the lighter colors, if you're calling it paint, because the lighter ones will not cover darker colors at all. There is that, if you want those lines to come back out, if you're using the acrylic markers with how light the print is for the Amazon book. But I mean, all in all, I think it's doing okay. Now that the purple's a little more dry, I'm gonna try to find just another area to add a highlight for the white to see if it'll, oh yeah, there we go. Now that's had a little bit more time to dry, and even if it is faint, if you're going over this either in a coloring book or something else, I think you'll be okay if you give the lighter colors just a little time to dry and then go back over them. I think you'll be doing okay with that extra coat. But again, I'm pressing hard, so if I were being more serious about this, I definitely need to lighten up, go back in with the darker brush, but okay. I think I have seen what I need to see. I'm going to call it here because I think this is a decent example rather than a finished picture. That was way too fast. There we go. Alright, now, if you can see that okay, like I said, I would just sort of try to the markers out, and without doing the whole thing, I have to say I'm impressed with the Sharpie markers, because look at that. There's just a couple spots where it's just starting to show through the paper. I would still most definitely, just to be safe, put something back there if you're using acrylic markers, at least the Sharpie acrylic markers. I might try the Posca, just in case. They do come a lot more of a variety of colors, but yeah, that is, I am honestly taken aback a little bit, because here I am with markers that have not gone through the paper, and the white, it went over the purple pretty well. To get it really solid, depending on what you're doing, you might have to take 2-3 passes to get it really definite, but depending on how you're shading, that little bit of a difference where it doesn't fully cover the darker colors can work. And as I've been saying, if you are using the acrylic markers with the, at least this print that I have, because I know sometimes the Amazon KDP paper and printing, depending on if they are using other companies, there can be variants in the line work, and that gets into the book. Now if I can find it here real quick so you can see the difference in this video. Now you can see for crayons, you don't really have to worry about the lines that much if you had a pen to go over them just to make them a little bit more defined. But I think for a coloring book with crayons, you're not going to have too much to worry about. You can see the lines okay, even if you go over them, which I think I did for this one. But if you want them defined with acrylic markers, you definitely want a pen or another marker just to darken the line work back up. They feel pretty good on the paper, and again, seriously, that didn't bleed through. Okay, that didn't bleed terribly through, other than like the five little places where it was starting. So yeah, that is all right. So if you're also someone out there who's looking into making coloring books and wondering, how your buyers, your customers' experience is going to be, at least if they're using Sharpie acrylic markers, I think it'll be okay. But well, and again, the colors, there's the strokes, but that's on me and not a hand practiced enough with them to make the colors a bit more uniform. I think that's it for this one. If you would be interested in Castwell's fantasy cartoon coloring book, I will put probably both links in the description, at least my Amazon link, because full disclosure, it will be an affiliate link, because, well, if you have it, you might as well do it. But yeah, and if you pick up my book, come back to this video, comment on other videos. Let me know what you would like to see in other videos, in other books and works that I do. I have another coloring book in the works right now, The Life and Times of Bertram Bear. And now that I've said it, I will go ahead and put a link to that video so you can see just one of the work in progress drawing process videos I have for it. And I'm going to stop talking and let you fine people get along with your days. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you doubly so if you have made it this far in the video. And I shall see you in the next one.